Hey everyone, my name is Neil Aryan, and in this video, we're going to be talking about connectivity and network protection. This is the seventh video in a series of videos that I'll be doing that covers different topics that are covered on the AWS CLP exam. Now, we can't really talk about connectivity without talking about the virtual private cloud. And this is a secure and virtual service that is used to set boundaries around your resources. And these exist to ensure that only the required traffic may enter a specific resource, and so that traffic may not flow unrestricted into your resources. And these exist within the AWS cloud, and they hold resources that only either you can use or resources that can be shared with other people. It can also be used for safekeeping, which means you can store valuable and confidential data in these so that people that don't have specified access can't access these. Now, in order to access these resources, the first thing you'll need is an internet gateway. And that's basically just having internet access here. Once you have an internet access, you may send a request through the internet to enter the VPC. Now, most of the time, very, very public information will be stored on this VPC. Things that people really don't care about if you use or don't use. This could be a physics calculator that you might need in order to calculate the speed of something falling down. Things that aren't super important for the company and they don't need to keep within themselves. However, for confidential data, we use a virtual private gateway, and this is used to access private resources within a VPC, such as resources that deal with private data, such as any EC2 instance that crunches financials that are very important to your company, and if they were leaked, could cause a great scandal. They can also be used to store storage units that contain confidential information about your employees, or if you're in health, they could store confidential information about your patients. Finally, they could also be used to store company databases. And a virtual private gateway allows traffic into the virtual private cloud if it's only coming from an approved network. And the approved network sends the request through a VPN connection. And a VPN connection encrypts your internet traffic from the outside. What this means is it enables you to set up a VPN to connect between your company and the VPC. And this is what it looks like. You have a VPN connection and you're connected to the internet. Once you have both of these requests that are coming from your corporate data center, only then can they get in through the virtual private gateway and into your databases. But let's really understand what the VPN does here. Let's say this is a data road. And in this data road, you can only send a certain amount of data. The bandwidth isn't super good, the latency isn't super high. And that's because there's all this outside traffic that's impacting what you're sending. The amount of outside traffic that exists, well, that's kind of an issue when it comes to getting a low latency and being able to send a lot of information in one go. So what the VPN does, it basically protects this. It basically allows your data road to be unaffected by this. It allows your data to be sent at a much quicker speed, lower latency, and allows you to send more of it, which is basically a function of a greater bandwidth. Instead of dealing with all this extra traffic that's slowing you down, you have this VPN that just protects you and you don't have to worry about that anymore. Now let's talk about Direct Connect. And Direct Connect is a service that allows you to establish a dedicated private connection between a data center and a VPC. In a way, it just facilitates everything that we talked about. It won't come up very frequently, but whenever it does come up, the one thing you should really keep in mind is Direct Connect, dedicated private connection between a data center and a VPC. That's the only time I've ever seen it come up frequently. Now let's talk about security, subnets. Now, a subnet is a section of a VPC that controls what kind of traffic comes and leaves. And they come in two forms. There's private and public subnets. And a private subnet is used to keep any internet traffic outside. And these usually contain confidential data such as customer details and histories and just things you don't want the general public to know or use. However, public subnets allow customers to use these and access these freely. And the website itself usually exists on the public subnet, and the products that a customer may buy, those images and the details exist on the public subnet so that a customer can access these. Now, let's talk about a network access control list. Frequently, these are called network ACLs or NACLs for the shortest form. And these are virtual firewalls that control inbound and outbound traffic at the subnet level, meaning they don't control the actual EC2 instances. They don't look at the databases. They care about the subnet. They care about everything around it. And these must be configured to suit your needs. The default form makes so that nothing can come in and nothing can come out. It essentially shuts them off. That exists because it has an explicit deny rule. If even one of the features that you're sending through the request, which could come in the form of a packet, if anything doesn't add up, it will explicitly deny you. It won't allow you at all. It doesn't matter if you match 99.99% of the requirements. If you're missing anything, it won't allow you to come in. It's also stateless, which means it doesn't matter if you're coming in or out. It doesn't matter if you're allowed to enter the packet. You also need to be allowed to, sorry, it doesn't matter if you're allowed to enter the subnet. It matters if you have the same amount of allowance to enter and exit. Otherwise, you'll enter the network ACL, you'll get beyond it, you'll enter the subnet, and you're not going to be allowed to leave, and that packet's going to stay in there forever. So you really, really need to make sure that you configure your packets and you configure the network ACL to support your exact needs. Now, we have security groups, and they're a little different from network ACLs in the sense that they're stateful, which means they remember who's entered the network, they remember who's entered the EC2 instance, and they allow those packets to leave or return once again. And they operate at the EC2 instance level. They do not operate on the subnet level, meaning in this, each individual EC2 instance, they might have a security group, but the network ACL, they control the entire public or private subnet. They also must be configured similar to a network ACL. By default, they reject everything that comes in or out, but once you configure them, they can accept, and once they accept, they're much more lenient on who can enter and who can leave compared to a network ACL. Now, thank you for watching. We covered a lot of different topics in this video. We covered virtual private cloud, virtual private gateway, virtual private network. That third should be an N, and I'm not going to end my video because of that. Then we covered subnets, network ACLs, and security groups. In the next video, we're going to cover file storage and block storage. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.